Welcome to Squadron ScaleWorkshop. My name is Brett Green. It's been a very busy week already with fairly exciting new and forthcoming releases. And around a week ago, I saw another kit that I wasn't aware was even on the way. I ordered it straight away, and today, less than a week later, mine arrived from the UK, and it's Revell's 32nd scale Messerschmitt Me 262 A-1/A-2. Now, this is the second in Revell's brand new Messerschmitt Me 262 series. The Me 262 B1A Night Fighter came out a few years ago, and I've just recently finished that kit, in fact, in the last couple of weeks. That was a very nice kit, but the appeal is limited by the fact that there are only about a dozen of these night fighters actually built. So there's a lot more potential in terms of colours and markings and options with the ME262A than there was with the ME262B. The first thing that I notice is that this is your typical end opening type of Revell box. So these boxes tend to be a little flimsier than the top lid style boxes, so make sure you don't put it at the bottom of a heavy pile of models. But once again, this is going to be an unboxing video, so the idea here is I'm not going to give you a detailed analysis. I'll write a review a little later on for that, but it's more to share the experience of opening the box for the first time and seeing what might be in there. So Revell usually seal their boxes with a little round transparent sticker. Let's open that up, and there we go. So the first sprue that I've pulled out of here, it looks like they're individual bags, by the way, plastic bags. I had an email, in fact, from one of our visitors who suggested that I have a think about the environmental impact of calling for cellophane bags for every sprue on every model in the world, which I admit I hadn't actually thought of before. This sprue has some detail parts for the cockpit, so we have things like the gun bay cover, bulkheads, engine bulkheads. We have some undercarriage doors. We have a number of cockpit parts, and also there are parts for a closed undercarriage as well, and more gun bay parts on this sprue too. So that's sprue. Is this named? Are they? I think Revell often don't name their sprues, at least on the sprues themselves. So, but they do usually have a parts tree in the instructions. Okay, this one looks a bit more interesting. What we have here are two sprues in the bag, and they're two important ones too. They're containing the wings and the fuselage. So we can see we have full-length fuselage halves. We have separate inserts for the gun cowl. We have the wings, which in common with the ME262B have separate flaps, separate leading edge slats, and separate ailerons. So that's all very good. We have tailplane surfaces as well, and then once again that'll have separate elevators. The surface textures are very fine, quite crisp, and they look consistent even down to the bottom of the parts, right around the curves. So that's quite nice. The second sprue is more of the same from the other side. So once again, we have the wings, we have the elevators. In this case, we have the fuselage and a few other parts. Next out of the lucky dip. Okay, so we have a sprue which is once again new to the ME262A, and that includes the rockets. Are they R4M? I could be showing my ignorance here. I'll check that later on. But yes, we have the rockets themselves and the underwing mounts for the rockets. We also have the single-seater cockpit surrounds here. And in the next sprue, this is one I think that we would have seen in common with the ME262B two-seater as well. We have the wing centre section. We have the engine nacelles and a few other parts, including, looks like the ailerons there, and a nice stout wing spar to keep the dihedral where it should be. Oh, the instrument panel looks quite nice too. Can we focus on that? You'll see also the back of the instrument panel has the instrument bodies, what you might consider doing there, because you can see it through the top of the clear part of the windscreen, is perhaps drilling these out and putting in some wire to add a little bit of extra detail. We have more goodies. That's interesting because there are 3 sprues in here. Beg your pardon, looks like 4. We have drop tanks, and we also have the radar aerials. So it looks like perhaps we might be getting a single-seater ME262 option from Revell as well, or this part is just left over because they wanted to use the drop tanks out of the ME262B. So it could be either. Who knows? But the enterprising modeler, with a new set of decals and some minor work, could probably actually turn the single-seater into the prototype night fighter as well. Engine parts, these will be the same as the ME262B. Very nice. And we have wheels, cannon, engine covers, and a few other parts as well. So that's that sprue. And here's another new one, which contains bombs for the ME262 A-2. The next, we have more sprues. There's quite a lot of sprues here, quite a lot of parts. I suspect these will all be duplicates of the previous one. Yes, they are. So I won't show you these again. I think you'll find they're exactly the same. We'll have some spare parts in there for the from the two-seater, so you'll have extra seats and bits and pieces. And the very last 2 sprues, as it turns out, are the clear parts, in which we have, interestingly, the opening section of the canopy, but we also have the rear canopy section that's moulded with a section of rear fuselage. It was interesting because when I looked at the fuselage, it seemed to be quite a long opening there. It looked more like the two-seater opening, and it seems that Revell have worked out a way to maximise the use of the existing moulds for the two-seater, and having that, can we focus on that? There we go. That little rear section covering some extra space. The second small clear sprue contains the windscreen, the wingtip navigation lights, and also the pilot's gun sight and windscreen armour. Now we have the Revell instructions. These have been very good lately, I think. They're usually colour diagrams. Oops, dropped the decals. I'll get those in a moment. We have colour call-outs for Revell paints. It'd be nice if they called out other paints as well, but you know, you can work it out. We have also a parts tree in here. That doesn't look like enough parts, so I think what we'll find is when we turn the page, we have the the rest of the parts tree as well. And then we have a number of colour diagrams of the steps to actually build the model. And in this case we have, how many steps? 96 steps to build the model. So it's not a weekend build. And we have also offered to us, looks like 3 marking options. So we have one from Lechfeld in 1944. We have also one from KG-51, a bomber from the Edelweiss Squadron, and that's in 1944 as well. Oh no, it's 2. So it's 2 marking options. So there we have it. The ME262 family from Revell is expanding. These should not be mistaken in any way for the 1970s ME262 kits that Revell put out in the olden days. These are very much new tool kits. I've also noticed that I built the ME262B 2-seater from test shots, and there were a number of moulding flaws on there, which happens sometimes with test shots. You can't really say that it's a problem with the overall kit. But I've just been looking at the parts where there were short shots on my test shot for the ME262B kit, and it's all fine. So it was things like the tip of the tail there was short shot. There was a big chunk missing in front of the wheel well, and so forth. But this looks perfectly moulded, and surface details are nice. Overall detail is excellent, and judging by the experience that people have had in building the production ME262B night fighter, this one should be a good one to build as well. So it's a great subject. It's really well moulded. It's got some nice marking options, and almost limitless possibilities once you take into account aftermarket decals and conversions. This is one that's really worth having. Well, that's all we have for you now from Squadron Scale Workshop. From Brett Green, it's bye for now.